Hello, how you doing? Chris Gore from Film Thread here. How's your Friday doing? Woo! Friday, everybody. I am Chris Gore from Film Thread. I am a huge movie fan, as I know you are as well. So you know what? Tonight is the first of something new. This is Film Threat Versus. And if this is your first time on Film Threat Versus, you have to fight. How's everybody doing on a Friday night? It is a cocktail hour, many Zoom cocktails. I'm sure you're enjoying them as well. You know, you can before we get started, like, subscribe, share, all that bullshit that they say on all the other channels. Yes, we say the same bullshit, but you can also get merch in the Film Threat shop. Yes. Did you even know that? You can do that. I'll throw it up. And Film Threat t-shirts, the one thing I like to say about them, they cure nudity on contact. It's a Friday. I love to talk about film. One of my favorite things to do when it comes to talking about film is I love to disagree with other people. It's the only way I actually learn anything, is when I hear someone's opinion that doesn't always agree with mine. I love that. I love hearing differing opinions. I get to learn. You get to learn something. Maybe you'll change my mind. Who knows? But comment, please. Look, DV Tuesday better return if AOTS does. We will see. We shall see, Mike Merriman. Thank you for the comment. I want you to join me. So here's how you can do it. Real simple. You see this? That's our live stream link. Do you want to join us right here? Go to that live stream link right now. Test your settings. Make sure your audio's good, your video's good. You've combed your hair. I never comb my hair. What are we talking about? And you can join us here. I'll tell you this, though. If you're technically, we can't hear you, whatever, you're going to get booted. If you get too personal in your attacks, you're going to get booted. But I want to take the thing that you kind of see on a live stream, you know, the chat. One of the best things about Twitter isn't the things that people say. It's the chat comments. It's the responses. Those are the things that those arguments are the things that are interesting or sad for society. And I'm sure you probably agree. It's a really, yes, it should be DV Blues Day or 4KA's Day. Who knows what it's going to be? Thank you, Mike. Why don't you join us here? Let's bring on a couple of our first contestants here. We have Anthony Ray Bench is joining us. Anthony, how are you doing? Lauren Clay is here. Great. Lauren, he's got the, look at this. Oh my God. Okay. Lori kicked us here. How are you? And Chuck Foster, my colleagues at Film Threat. How's everybody doing on a Friday night?
Awesome.
Just lovely. Good, excellent.
Doing good.
All right, good. Let's debate about our first topic. And watch it. The versus thing is right at your head, Lauren. Our first topic, a lot of big news lately about movie theaters. I don't know about you, but since the lockdown, I've been going to the drive-in every week. There's the Paramount drive-in, the Mission Tiki, there's the Vineland drive-in. There have been some pop-up drive-ins. There's a new drive-in. You can go to arenascreen.com. They just had tickets go on sale for Wonder Woman. My buddy there, Christian Mayoli. It's right behind, if you know the Egyptian Theater on Hollywood Boulevard, directly behind it, there's a drive-in that just went up. Pretty exciting stuff. So I've been going to the drive-in, but here's my fear. Movie theaters are going to die. Are movie theaters dead? What do you think, everybody? Anthony Ray Bench, go. Are movie theaters dead? Let's put some context to this. HBO Max just announced, we're going to take all of our movies from 2021, including Dune, one of the things I was so looking forward to. I reread the book again recently. And suddenly announced all those movies are going on streaming. We'll see if that happens. I happen to think that it's bullshit. I think that was announced to boost their stock price. But that's one sort of death knell. Disney Plus just announced 20 Marvel and Star Wars shows. I don't know. I think there is such a thing as too much of a good thing. I don't know. Is this going to kill movie theaters? Are we now used to? They say it takes about 3 weeks to create a new habit, right? If you spend 3 weeks doing something, that's a new habit. Are movie theaters dead? Anthony Ray Bench.
I don't think so. I think there's always going to be those people that like going to the movies and like the theater experience. I'm certainly one of them. But right now is a weird time. It's super weird. I mean, we've had to kind of figure out how to adjust and how to basically exist in this long pandemic. And companies need to as well. I agree with you. I don't think that what HBO Max promised is actually going to happen. I think there's going to be way too much pushback from filmmakers, from other production companies that are kind of in business with Warner Brothers. But honestly, I would be okay with it for now, because I think when things get back to something that resembles normal, whatever that may be, there's still going to be a need for the theater experience.
I love what you said. I want to take the drugs that you're taking, because I kind of feel like Anthony's always very low key and he has this amazing voice on the podcast. But
Aww.
Anthony, I want to try some of your drugs. Lauren Kling, where do you stand? Are movie theaters dead?
No.
Great argument. That's awesome. That's cool. All right, Lauren, thanks for playing. Lori Kikta, what do you say? Are movie theaters dead?
No, absolutely not. Because first of all, I mean, this isn't going to garner like a ton of income, but there's a lot of theaters that are renting out their auditoriums for like groups, quarantine pods or whatever.
Right.
I think that that's helpful. I honestly think I am pro HBO Max, what they're doing. I am for that, because I don't think it's worth risking getting a disease to go see a movie in the theater, even if it is cool. If you live somewhere like New York and you haven't driven in, I don't know, 10 years like me, you can't go to the drive-in. So I don't want to not be able to see Dune just because the vaccine hasn't been distributed yet or whatever. I think it's a very smart decision on their part. I mean, but like you said, it could be bull crap, but we'll see what happens. But I don't think that movie theaters are dead at all. I think that the studios want them to stay around. They'll probably help like build them back up, if anything.
All right. Well, all I can say is this: when I was much younger, I was willing to risk disease for experiences. Chuck Foster, what do you think?
I certainly hope so. And the reason I say this is that around here in New York, we have these micro cinemas. We have places like Fillmore Cinema in Greenpoint. We have Spectacle Theater in Williamsburg. And I think that the death of the multiplex would bring a grand resurgence of the sort of thing that we used to see on 42nd Street, and I think that's a good thing. Kill all that that Hollywood blockbuster crap. I hate it. I don't want to watch it, and bring me something, that's filthy, that's gritty, something new and different, good riddance. And who needs those awful nachos anyway,
Yes, although I am a fan of gas station nachos when you're super, sort of in another place. Gas station nachos are kind of good. Mike Merriman has a good comment. He says, as Gore said, he basically just agrees with me about drive-in. And drive-ins, I used to go to the Oak. I have a drive-in movie speaker here right behind me that I stole from a drive-in when it closed, the Oak Drive-In in Royal Oak, Michigan. So there you are. Let's get some other opinions. We have some people that are finally joining us here. We have Steph Woodburn. Steph, what do you? Okay, Steph, can we hear you? I think you're muted. You've muted yourself. Unmute.
Yeah. I didn't realize I was coming out from backstage. Hi.
Where do you stand? First of all, Steph, where are you here local in Los Angeles?
Yeah, I'm in Los Angeles.
Sweet. Okay, so you live in one of the best places in the world to go to the movies.
Yeah.
You have not been doing that now.
No.
Where do you stand on our movie theaters dead? What is your personal experience with movie theaters in terms of going? Was it a weekly habit for you? Was it like me? Are you 3-4 times a week or daily?
No, I loved going to the movies. I used MoviePass until it ran to the ground.
Nice.
I would go 3 times a week if I could. And but I don't think they're dead. I think people will always want the experience of being in their own world without, a VR headset or whatnot on and nothing on the face and just be immersed in it with ideally cell phones off. I think that will always be there. Do I think they're suffering now? For sure. I don't know if everyone's going to make it in the movie theater business, unfortunately, but I definitely don't think they're dead. I just think it's going to take a rejuvenation of the movie-going experience and economy.
Let me rephrase the question a little bit. Do you think that you would feel more comfortable staying at home watching movies if they manufactured IMAX televisions?
No. I would want to eventually go to the movies.
I personally don't give a fuck about IMAX, just to be quite honest, but
I disagree with you there. That could be another topic. I'm a huge. Okay, here's the choice: 3D movie or IMAX version. Which do you choose?
Wait, what about 4D?
Oh, that's right. 4D exists.
4D. I saw the
ridiculous thing ever. Like, anyway.
What have you seen in 4D?
I've seen The Quiet Place. It was terrifying.
Wow.
Terrifying. I screamed every time, and then other people would laugh every time I screamed. So I'd be like, and then the whole movie theater would just.
I saw The Rise of Skywalker on 4D, and it was terrifying for a completely different reason.
I saw Godzilla King of the Monsters in 4D. It was fun. I like that 4D experience. Apparently, it's really popular in Asia. We have is this Ryan Reynolds who's just joined?
Hi there. I see you met my friend Steph over here.
Hey, John.
Hi, Steph.
Thanks.
Chris, this is my friend I was telling you about. I'm glad. I bet you were glad you wore your brown pants.
God.
John Bailey, you know I'm a huge fan. You know that you are the voice of Award This, and will always be. As long as I am alive, you are the voice of Award This.
Ultimate Voice 2020.
Oh my God. No, dude, we're doing the awards no matter what. We have a virtual version planned, and we're looking at various drive-in locations to do it outdoors. It is happening. But I want to know, John, what do you think when it comes to movie theaters? Are movie theaters dead? I think there's stiff competition when it comes to the streaming services. Let's just be real about it.
I think that movie theaters will downsize big time because, I mean, as you can see, there's very few IMAX screens. There's very few 4DX screens. I think movie theaters are going to go that direction. There'll be, in the South, that's fairly typical. Like, I lived in Memphis, and you had to go to Nashville to go to an IMAX that didn't show educational films. That's all the IMAX that we had in Memphis showed was stuff at the museum. So in order to see a movie on it, you had to drive a really long way, and it was always a movie that had been out for a while. So I think because the ticket prices are so expensive, and because of quarantine restrictions, I think that movie theater experiences will have to completely change their floor plan, which means it'll be one of those things that people do just very, very rarely, because it's cheaper to rent a movie for $20 when it first comes out and for a whole family to watch than to buy 7 or 6 or 4 individual tickets for it. Especially when kids over 10 now have to pay adult prices.
I mean, it's true. I don't have a family, so I think that's a different marketing scenario.
Wow, you and Bruce Wayne. That's impressive.
I'm just like Bruce.
Why are the best?
Well, now that Disney is adding things like Netflix watch parties, they don't have to be in together anymore. And if they get to the point where they have a rental fee, and then you could share with friends and watch together, people would look at it as a money saver more than anything else. And why take the risk going to a theater? But I do agree that certain movies are great in 4DX or 3D or film or whatever. I think that anything like Pacific Rim, Godzilla are way better in 4DX or 3D or IMAX. But other films like
what about Dune?
Yeah,
Dune. Where they're vomiting CG crap in your eyes the whole entire movie, like Aquaman. That's the kind of film to watch in that. In fact, Bumblebee was one of my favorite films, mainly because I worked on it, but it was something I noticed in that version of the film that I didn't see in the regular version of the film that you can't see without 3D. When Bumblebee first transforms, his face is way up inside the engine, and you don't even see it at first. In the regular version of the film, it's all just flat, and it's just something, it adds an element you can't get otherwise.
Yeah.
Well, technically speaking, don't we all have IMAX TVs if we sit like really close?
Yeah, really close. If you just like duct tape a giant television to your face, and then
oddly enough, I actually think that there are parts of the pandemic I actually like, which is not hugging people. And speaking of that, Lauren Kling is going to join us again. I never have liked to hug. Whenever I see you in public, Lauren, I wish we could have done the elbow thing since I knew you. But Lauren, you actually were going to make a serious point, and someone cut you off. I don't know why. But tell us what your thoughts are.
Well, I can't see the screen size.
Nice try, Lauren. Let's bring on.
He's the Matt Damon to your Jimmy Kimmel.
Atlanta. We have DJ Will. Will, are you here? Will, we're having some technical issues. Will, go and come back. Would you go and come back? But Shane Mackey, you're in Atlanta. There's some amazing theaters there.
Oh,
what are movie theaters dead? Are they coming back? I want to know. People in LA not take their opinions 100% because I think we're all like
be back in Florida for sure.
Fans
they don't care.
Yeah, like what? What do you think? Oh, Smell-O-Vision. Oh wow, Smell-O-Vision.
I love.
I remember
I have a
Smell-O-Vision.
Smell-O-Vision card. I'm gonna go.
What happens if an employee with
have
food
it.
blanking
What are your
sneezes
thoughts?
into the machine?
You remember the
AMC theater not far from here that shut down about half their screens maybe 5 years ago. So it's kind of been dying. I mean, it has 12 houses in it, maybe more.
My manager mainly reps trailer and talent, and she's been telling me for years. She's like, this industry is slowly dying. Like the theatrical business is eventually going to just dwindle out and fizzle out. I'm like, I hope not, though, because that's an experience. For me, that was going to Disneyland. We didn't have anything cool. We had the movie theater. That was it.
I know the movie theater is like how my parents communicated with me because they didn't know how to do that otherwise. So they're just like, okay, we're going to the movies so we don't have to talk to each other.
It's the greatest story ever.
We'll watch 16 Candles so we can explain to you about growing up.
All right, let's see if Lauren can make a point. Lauren is back. Oh wait, no, he's not back. It's the Hollywood Spirit. Lauren, let us know when you come back. I'm just curious, like, okay, I feel very spoiled in Los Angeles. Everyone here who's in Los Angeles, we're so spoiled because we have the best projection, the best screens. I wonder if it's really going to go to. I really think AMC as a chain may be gone, but the ones that will survive are the ones with the theaters that I go to take a nap in, which they have the seats are so comfortable.
Yeah.
Yep.
Press the button and like you're basically on a gurney.
I've literally seen him take a nap.
If they put in massaging chairs in the theaters, then I'll never leave.
Right.
I saw it
How
first
much
in the
would you
Tribeca
pay?
movie.
Put a cooler in there with a beer or two, you know what I mean? Like a mini bar right there. I mean, dude.
Well, those places usually have a bar.
Yeah, but you have to walk and stuff, you know?
They used
I want a
to
mini
have,
bar
like,
right there, and just pop it open in the handle, and you reach down and pull it out and put it back down.
I did actually. Okay, here's the only movie I've seen since the lockdown in a movie theater was actually where was I? I was on the east side. I think it was Pomona or Riverside. I went to the AMC and I saw the BTS concert film.
Oh my God, you like
Wow.
K-pop?
I do like the K-pop. I saw BTS. I was probably the only older white dude at the Rose Bowl.
Yeah, you were.
I was. It was all like I felt
Thanks
it was
for the traffic, by the way, Chris. It's super fun. I got caught in that crap.
Check out Black
I got caught in their very first American concert. Nobody warned me. I was going to a birthday party in the same area for the
my girlfriend did not warn me. I went and
6
she had
hours.
the best time, and I was drinking and hanging out.
Well, I went and hanged out with Snoop at the ball. That was way more chill.
Oh, that rules.
Did they have soju there?
Yeah, it was right around 420.
Lauren is back. Let's see if we can give Lauren another shot. Lauren,
Yes, hi. I'd like to comment about the very first thing you asked at the beginning of the show about movie theaters, if they
we're
are
still
good.
talking
And
about
what I was trying to say was that movie theaters cannot be matched for quality as far as audio and video. You aren't distracted by phones and spouses, girlfriends, boyfriends, cats, and animals when you're at a movie theater,
You're not married
like
to my
you
wife.
are at home.
right.
So no matter how big your TV is, you've got all the distractions of home, bathroom breaks, and I just don't think you get the full movie experience. And I can't believe you still have me on. I could go on for hours talking about what
I
it's
think he's
like.
watching a video on TikTok. He
Well,
should.
I would say this though: you may not hide all of the distractions that you have at home, but if the movie is worth watching, you're going to pay attention to it.
Yeah.
It has to be,
It's
I mean,
the
I've done
benchmark
that.
of a good
I'll
movie.
start out watching a movie. I'll be dicking around on my phone, and then It's like,
Go
wait
back.
a minute, I'm
And
actually
you realize
interested
it's
in what's
Rise of
going on
Skywalker,
here,
and you go right back to your phone again.
Well, I will say that I listen to a lot of stuff, and especially I listen like Netflix. It's like I'll listen to it if it grabs my attention, I'll watch it. But it's rare that something really. Although I did see a movie the other day. It's an independent film that just came out. 2 women directors. They made the entire film themselves. They wrote it, produced it. It's called The Planters. I think we just ran the podcast actually this week. So it's just
got a couple of planners out back if you want.
The Planters, yeah, The Planters. So I don't know. I like
about peanuts.
Let's play a quick game of guess who has dial-up internet.
Mr.
I'm gonna
Peanut.
guess
Story.
Lauren. Okay, so
You knew him when he was a small nut, but now he's a big nut. Mr. Peanut is back in Planters, the movie.
oh my God.
Starring Bob
John Bailey, Epic Voice Guy, is live now on YouTube and whatnot. If you in the comments, now's your chance to ask John for something. What is some of the great John? You know when they have those things, they make you say things. Do you ever
the comments at the end.
Okay, are there ones where you just go, oh, I can't. What are the
Not usually. I think there's ones that they try to trip me up on, and I'm just like, dude, I've been doing this for 13 years. You're not gonna get me, bro. I'm not gonna record myself screwing up. I'm just gonna record the good one and send it to you. So good luck trying to make me look bad.
I wonder, do they have ones that were there where they reject them? There have to be ones.
I don't know. They never show me the ones that they reject. And if there's ever, I always tell them to pick the ones where they take a famous movie quote and they butcher it somehow, because it's just like, you call yourself a nerd. How dare you get this line wrong? Now the whole world will know. And it's too late, because they usually go back and correct themselves. They forget there's this delete thing that you could just delete it and try again. But for some reason, they just try to do it like, oh no, ignore that other one. And guess which one we're going to pick.
Well, here's the thing. Can we get an epic movie description for Necromancer?
Yes.
Wait.
Necromans, the movie. He was a man's that was into necrotism. Now he's the Necromans, fighting to survive. I don't know what this film is about, so I'm making it up as I go. Bruce Campbell stars in Necromans.
Hey, I feel like I've already been here before.
DJ Will. We're having some problems with DJ Will. Trying to get him to join. Jen Foster says, hey, Lori. Look at that. Will, I don't know. Will, I don't know what's wrong. There's something wrong. We're having some, maybe it's your, change your settings so that you're.
Hey.
There you go, Will. What are you doing, man?
He's frozen in time.
I feel like this is where everything goes wrong. Did anyone see that movie Host, which is on Shudder?
Yes.
Yeah.
That was great.
Yep.
That was great.
That was really good.
We should definitely murder someone. And I think I know who's first.
Chris Gore is sus, y'all.
Oh my God!
Maybe he's just moving so slowly we can't tell.
Yeah, I don't know. I just want to leave Will there because it's kind of intimidating.
I know.
It's like he's mad at us.
Like with that Slayer poster in the back, is like.
I come bringing horrible tidings of war from the nether regions.
All right, I think it's time we move on. Up,
oh,
Will, away.
We got Thanos.
Oh no!
That's DJ Will.
Hey, Mark, if you want to join us, the link is right there. You can join us. You can be a part of this live stream. We can have up to 10 people on. Right now, we got 8. There you go.
Bitter, but he wasn't going to get it.
All right, let's try this again. Let's move on to another topic. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to switch topics, which means I get to put the titling on one more time, which is very fun. Here we go. Well, not a
used an epic voice, but
it does need an epic voice.
Film threat versus.
If only we knew somebody who could do that for us.
Movie critics. Not a week goes by at Film Threat where we don't get a filmmaker going, why did my movie get a bad review? And I'm thinking like, who gives a shit about reviews, right? Like, okay, so here's the big question. Do movie critics matter? Do movie critics matter? In fact, you know what? I'm going to retype that. So we have some critics that are here, but people that are not critics. I'm really curious. Do movie critics really matter? Mike, what do you think? Mike Merriman. Oh, he just posted a comment. How many unpaid internet bills? Okay.
Wait, I know this joke.
What's that?
No, I'm just kidding. How many unpaid internet bills does it take to change a light bulb?
Does it really matter anymore? I mean, I know, like, to a lot of people, the Rotten Tomatoes score matters.
Yeah.
I think when it comes to the big movies, do big movies really care if they get bad reviews?
No, it's more important for small films to get a good Rotten Tomatoes score. So that's why I think that we are doing we're fighting the good fight at film.
I think it still matters because I mean they still do a ton. They wait by the computer for the Rotten Tomatoes score so they can make a trailer instantly. 98% on Rotten Tomatoes. I mean, even big movies do. So I think they still use that as kind of a, hey, look, we're good, we're okay, because they have to do it right away before the bad reviews start coming in. So they want to get that high score.
Well, here's the thing: all publicity is good publicity. Yeah. So even if you get a bad review, you can milk that. You can say, this person said my film was so bad that you're going to want to go out and see it. And I think that's really important. I mean, and people should stop complaining about, I got a bad review. You know what? If you don't want a bad review, don't
make a movie.
Put your film out there. Yeah, don't do art. There's always going to be somebody who doesn't like it. That's okay. It's a good thing,
Does anybody remember the Dumb and Dumber trailer? Remember when they took all the bad reviews and they made a positive trailer out of it?
Out of all the movies out this year, this was one of them. I came
Was that for the original or the
until
sequel?
it was over.
Was that for the original or the sequel?
The original Dumb and Dumber, the first one.
Wow.
They took all the reviews and just made these. They sounded cool in the voice, but they were just literally like things like,
Of all the movies this year, this was one of them.
I remember Mad Magazine did a whole thing about the quotes that they use in films. And how they just pick out words here and there, and then Mad Magazine did the fake.
I get the funniest one.
Yeah,
it was a real promo, and it literally said, "One of the best shows I've ever seen." Whatever, Facebook user. And I have a feeling that was probably somebody that worked on the thing, just so they could have one positive comment to put in the trailer.
I'd like to add something to this discussion, if I may.
What I was going to say is I hate the gatekeeping with the bigger film critics, though. The fact that, like, there's, like, a hierarchy, and it's like, I'm not going to name names. I wish I would. But, like, there's certain people that get to see certain movies because the filmmaker wants that critic to say something good about their movie. Yep. You know what I mean?
And then you see them at the screening, and they leave 5 minutes after the movie starts, and they still post their critic review the next day.
That happens.
Journalistic integrity.
I don't know.
Lauren,
Richard Miller used to review albums based on the album cover, so that's all. Yeah.
That's why my parents never let me listen to any '80s music, because it all looks so satanic on the cover.
So it was a bad movie.
So I wanted to comment about something you talked about earlier.
Oh my god!
Alexa, stop, you motherfucker! My Alexa's now going off. This is great. Can you now get rid of me for a second?
No.
Now he has to go.
Alexa, shut up! All right. So I feel the Rotten Tomato score for my participation has been pretty bad. I'd say 23%. I'd like to boost that if I may. You notice a lot of shows and movies are now saying from a producer of a famous movie, or the second AD from this production. So I think movies are using whatever they can to promote a movie, something positive.
From Nickelodeon Best Kiss Award winner 1993.
Any credit they can get, man.
From Best
Directed by that
John Cena,
Gaffer who worked on that Bloomhouse movie.
Exactly.
Well, Mike says I tend to care more about what my peers think. I agree with him. It's like there are people that I know that just have good takes on movies. The problem is that they don't exactly want to say them out loud, right? Like, I mean, I get stuck in that scenario also just because having been around as long as I have, I know a lot of people or knew them early in their careers, and I want to see them succeed. and I'd rather give them my personal opinion privately. And that does happen, which is a big.
Tell us about the old black and white movies, Grandpa.
I remember black and white.
What was it like in silent films? Did you imagine what they sounded like?
No, wait.
It should be public, though. No, it should be public because otherwise nobody's going to listen. You know, it's like, thanks for your opinion, Chris. But when it's out there in print, somebody might take note of it. You know.
Well, that's true. That's true. I do think that, like, I agree with what Lori Kikta said earlier, which was about, like, it can actually help. A critic's review can actually help a small movie, right? Mm-hmm. Like this movie, it's a small film directed by a guy named John Garcia called Love in Dangerous Times. And it's basically about a couple that hooks up via an app like Tinder during the pandemic. And it was shot right when the pandemic happened in March. I think he finished in like June, and it kind of tracks everything that happened. All like everything we were, experiencing at that time, the couple experiences. It's actually like, I found it like really heartwarming. Like, and it's like this small little movie he made. There's like 4 actors, and it like takes place like during the it was just very relatable. That I thought was really amazing.
Kind of like Will Smith and I Am Legend.
Yeah, it's not a movie you would see in IMAX. At some point, I would like to see like what an indie filmmaker like Richard Linklater would do with like an IMAX 3D movie or 4D.
Oh wow, yeah.
What would Linklater do with 4D, or John Waters for that matter?
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah, like
he hasn't made a movie since Dirty Shame. Like what's going on with that?
He's old. He's very old.
Well, no, I think that if you look at the movies that John Waters has made, if he made them now, he would be canceled. He would be because he was so politically incorrect. He pushed it to the extreme where he was being, every movie in his early career in the 70s and the 80s, like they were all protested. People protested his films, went out of their way to say, I don't want to see this. That was like before you could lazily go on the internet, post your opinion, and just go, whatever. People went out of their way to protest his movies.
Well, see, the competition has grown. I used to be Siskel and Ebert, and that was it. And maybe one guy on NPR. And then people on the internet started saying, I have a voice. And all of a sudden they created a fan base for themselves, present company included. And then all of a sudden you've got thousands of other people doing it. And now it's just kind of watered down the level of how much it means to get a great review on something from a critic.
DJ Will is here.
He's alive. He's not frozen.
DJ Will, can you hear us?
Oh, he got famous again.
Psychedelic.
Whoa, what's
oh no, Lawrence Fred.
Did he get abducted by aliens? What's going on?
No, man, it's really like trippy, man. I'll have whatever.
Will, something's wrong with your internet, Will. I don't know. Yeah, John Waters in 4D is something.
So Chris drops me. Chris drops me in order to bring Will back on. I get it.
That's
all right,
true,
I see.
He was trying to diversify
And
the
first
cast.
to be thrown off the boat is,
That's true. Will, I'm sorry, man. You know what it is? I don't know. It's your upload speed.
Well, I gotta go, so maybe me being off will free up some bandwidth for you. So thanks for having me on, though.
You gotta leave?
Yeah, it's my son's birthday. I can only be here for a small amount of time.
Okay, cool. Well, thank you so much for hanging out, John.
Yeah, buddy.
All right, brother. Take care. Later. All right, Lauren, you gotta go. I'm kidding. Let's introduce another topic. Because let's introduce another topic. And when we do that, I like to just play the branding just because I think it's a lot of fun. So why not? Let's just do that right now. Okay, here we go. Okay, our next topic, let's talk about this. You're going to see Dune in a theater or streaming. It's going to be really tempting. Seriously, I want to know because Wonder Woman is coming out. Wonder Woman 84. Is that going to train us? I mean, I'm really curious. There's certain movies. Does it ruin the experience seeing it first? And let me compare it to this before everybody jumps in with their opinion. It used to be that you would go to a movie theater, the lights would go off, and you would see a trailer for a movie you'd never heard of, or you may have been excited about or heard something about, and you saw it in a movie theater. And now, when we see a movie trailer, it's mostly we see it on our fucking phones. The new trailer's out. I'm just going to watch the new trailer on my phone. Are you going to see Dune in a theater or streaming? I want to know. Steph, what do you think? And then we'll go around the horn here.
Sure. So Dune is my favorite book of all time. And I think I've been disappointed with the past Dune creations, but I was looking forward to this one. The trailer looked really good, cautiously optimistic. I don't know. Honestly, to connect it to the last question, it may be based on reviews. If people are saying, oh, this is amazing, and I feel like I'm going to be behind if I don't see it, then maybe I'll see it online. But otherwise, I'd prefer to wait until the theater experience, if that is ever going to happen.
If that's an option. Yeah.
If that's an option. If it's not ever going to be an option, then yeah, I'll just see it online.
Well, Shane, are you going to see Dune in a theater or on Cody? I'm just curious.
I don't want to see another movie in it. Cody, why are you got to bring Cody into this? leave Cody out of this discussion. I don't want to go to another theater again, ever.
Really?
So, I haven't been to a theater in like a year and a half anyway. So,
well, is it the experience ruined because of people talking loud in a theater?
It's ruined by people.
Yeah, I
just
can't stand
people.
that shit. Can't stand it.
Yeah, it's the only time I really go like full, like, you know, my maleness comes out when I get angry. I get very bold if anyone is using their phone in a theater. I think, Anthony, you've seen me get like super mad if someone's like, and I'll do this thing that's literally like Christian Bale out of Batman, like, hey, put that thing away. Yeah. I get like super aggro towards whoever's using it. Is that part of why you don't want to go?
He definitely does the Batman voice for sure.
Yeah. Shane.
I almost saw a fight break out of Tribeca because of that.
Oh, for real?
Yeah. These guys were ready to go at it in the theater, and I don't know.
Which movie?
Crown Vic.
Actually, one of my worst experiences was I was at the Telluride Film Festival. I was watching the movie Swingers, and I'd never heard of this movie. Swingers, you know, Jon Favreau, Vince Vaughn. I'm watching the movie, and these motherfuckers behind me were talking the whole fucking movie. It was so distracting, and I'm like, I had to hold my anger in. I mean, I'm like Bruce Banner not trying to turn into the Hulk. I was so pissed off. And the lights came on, and Vince Vaughn and Jon Favreau get up from behind me, and they walk. They do the Q&A. It was those guys who were talking about the movie. But it's their movie. I'm sure they'd already.
Oh my God. Yeah. I wish you had chewed them out. That would have been so funny.
I didn't do it, but I remember like controlling myself, like, okay, just be chill, whatever, film festival. But Lauren, what do you think? Dune in a theater, streaming, or maybe for you in a drive-in? I know you're a big drive-in movie fan like I am.
Yeah, that's one of the things that we share is our love for drive-ins. And I can compare this to seeing Tenet. I love Christopher Nolan movies in IMAX, and I was really disappointed not to be able to see Tenet in IMAX. But just being able to go to the drive-in to experience the being outside of the house, that's what did it for me. So I will watch Dune, but to me, Dune will just feel like every other movie that we're watching at home. It won't have that special thing until I see it in an actual movie theater or at the drive-in.
I actually will say I do like the drive-in because there's a certain type of movie that's a good drive-in movie. I saw The Rental, directed by Dave Franco, which was like kind of a cool midnight movie, like horror film. And there's a movie that's like really good at the drive-in. Like trauma movies are all good drive-in movies. If it's a trauma movie, that's a drive-in movie. And have you heard who's been cast in The Toxic Avenger?
Yes, Peter Dinklage.
Yes. That is crazy.
Amazing.
Peter Dinklage is going to play, the hero.
I love him.
I don't know the director. Like, I haven't seen his other movie, but I was Elijah Wood told me that the movie is in good hands because he apparently knows Macon Blair. So I think that I'm looking forward to it, and the fact that Lloyd and Michael signed off on it, means that it's probably worth it, because they were talking about it like when I worked there in 2008. So like it's been floating around for a long time. So I think that they finally, picked the right person and made the right choice.
Well, I talked to Lloyd Kaufman about it, and it's one of the on a short list. The Toxic Avenger is one of the things that it's an R-rated movie that was made into a cartoon for children. Mm-hmm. There was also a toy line in the 80s. But Chuck Foster, what are your thoughts about Dune in a theater or streaming? And it's different in New York. So,
well, if it's not Alejandro Jodorowsky's Dune, I don't care. Honestly. I mean, to be honest. But that said, if I prefer watching movies at home. I really do. I got to pee a lot because I drink a lot of beer while I'm watching a movie, and I like the ability to pause and get up and do what I got to do. And I hate that feeling of being in a movie and halfway through I'm like doing the pee-pee dance, ready to go, and it's really uncomfortable and just painful, And now most of these movies are like 3 hours long. And you got to wait even longer. Like, come on, man. Yeah.
Well, it's something that I actually tweeted about this recently. I don't know. Does anyone here still use Twitter? I don't know. Yeah. It's a shit show. Twitter is the social media shit show. But one of the things I said is that I wonder when we go back to the movies as on the regular, like we're so used to watching movies at home now, we have to like get those habits back of being like, you can't pause the movie to go to the bathroom. I only have one kidney, so I go to the bathroom. Like I've never seen a movie all the way through without going to the bathroom at least once. So it's very rare for me. I remember actually seriously, Anthony, you and I had this conversation. I think it was like Avengers. It was Infinity War or Endgame. And I was like, should I get adult diapers? Because I don't want to. Should I wear an adult diaper to Avengers Endgame? Because I got to see the whole thing. Yeah. I don't know. I
sprinted to the bathroom during that. I don't remember. It was kind of at a lull, so I was just like, I gotta go now, and I like sprinted.
Well, here's the thing. Back in the '60s, with like West Side Story, that's the one that pops into my mind. They used to put intermissions into these 3-hour movies. Like, come on,
Gone
give
with
us
the
a
Wind.
pee break. It's not that hard. Just give us 15 minutes. Go do what we got to do, and then we're good.
I'd love to. I had a conversation with Leonard Maltin once. We had just seen Magnolia, P.T. Anderson's Magnolia, and he was like, "Oh, that movie could have used an intermission." We had this whole conversation about the last movie that had last major theatrical release that had an intermission, and we determined it was Gandhi.
Well, what about Quentin Tarantino?
Yeah.
What's that?
What about what was it called? Grindhouse.
Right. That wasn't an intermission though. That was trailers that you would want to watch.
Right.
I mean, at least when I saw it, if they put in like a 10-minute drive-in intermission, I've seen them all anyway. Like, yeah, great.
Oh man. All right. Wait, Lori, did you answer this question? Did you answer the question at hand?
No, I did not.
Let's hear it. I
will see it in the theater if it's safe. Like, I'm really interested in seeing it, and I'm like Steph said, I will wait for a certain amount of time, but if it's not going to come to the theater at all, I'm going to watch it on, like, at my house, I have a setup where we have a Mac Mini attached to an actual TV, so I don't have to watch it on a computer or something like that. It's better than that. So yeah, if it's safe, I'll go. If not, no. I mean, to me, it's that simple.
Gotcha. Anthony, where do you stand on this? Dune, theater or streaming?
So as far as the argument for going to the bathroom goes, I have very strong water discipline. That's a Dune reference for those who don't know. So I don't really have a problem holding it. I mean, Avengers Endgame was nothing. I just sat there and I was fine. So that doesn't factor into it. I love the theater experience. Especially when it comes to big budget movies and monster effects and whatnot. That said, Dune is one of my favorite books of all time. I'm obsessed with it. I love the director. I think that he'll have a really interesting take on the source material, and I think he's pretty. I mean, he's pretty sticking pretty close to it, which I really appreciate. So yeah, I mean, I'm really careful during this pandemic, but I would be a little bit more reckless to see Dune in a theater. I would drive hours and hours. I don't care. I'll do it. But see, I saw Tenet. I was one of the people that went to the theater to see Tenet, and going to see Tenet was like primarily it hinged on how many people are going to be in the theaters and how is the theater going to handle, like all the precautions and whatnot. And when I saw Tenet, I literally saw it with like 4 other people, including my buddy. So it was like me, my buddy, and 2 other people in the theater. If that's the situation when I go to see Dune, I will be ecstatic and happy. If the theater is packed, I might wait for another showing. It's just all about like what I'm feeling and how I'm kind of, I don't know, like I hate to be that guy, but for me, it's worth it. I love movies so much and I love Dune so much. So I'm definitely going to see them in theaters.
It would be crazy if you saw Dune and then died from seeing it. That would be the worst thing.
Wow, way to put that out there.
Yeah,
you could
thanks.
die from seeing Dune.
Is it worth it?
It was worth it. It was worth it.
Are they packing theaters now?
What if I saw it and my last words were about how much I hated it?
I'm going to say I felt really guilty about not seeing Bill and Ted in the theater, but it wasn't an option, really.
Right. No, it was at the drive-in. It was at drive-ins, but oh my God, Bill and Ted 3. Bill and Ted 3, I think, was one of the summer's best movies. But
aside from drive-ins, has anyone seen a movie in a theater since?
Yeah.
That's curious. Yeah. Yeah, I did too. I mean, and it was, whatever.
Where did you go?
It was I'd rather not say.
Oh,
but
okay.
I saw Dark Knight of the Scarecrow. And yeah, I mean, whatever. It's a TV movie, which, yeah. But, the experience of being in there was, was fine. Put your mask on and you're good. And people, unless you were in a couple or whatever, you sat apart.
I saw a Tenet at the AMC in Orange County, or Orange, it's called The Block. But they handled it really well. I mean, they had people like every kind of 15 minutes. It wasn't distracting. Like they were subtle about it, but they would come in, make sure everybody was wearing their masks. They didn't harass anybody who was actually like eating and snacking, as long as they weren't doing it through the entire movie. Because at a certain point you run out of snack, then that's really weird.
You're talking about homemade jerky?
What's that?
You're talking about homemade jerky? You've given me some of your homemade jerky. Can I just admit something? Whenever you give me the homemade jerky, I always give it to somebody else. I've never eaten it. Never once. But I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
I want some homemade jerky. Damn.
Yeah,
Makes homemade jerky, and I'm not putting that meat in my mouth. It's just not going to happen. It's just not doing it.
Not that one.
Mike Merriman.
What if that's how you died, Chris?
Everyone knows you caught with the meat in your mouth.
That's how I died.
Yeah, by putting meat in your mouth. Yeah.
Oh my God, Mike Merriman, you can join us if you go to the link that's
come on, man.
Mike, you the whole time. You have the best comments. And do you really think Dune crowds will be big? I actually don't know.
Yeah, I think so.
Audiences are sophisticated now because Dune is such a layered book, and I feel like it's a misunderstood book because it's so political. It's so, Frank Herbert was inspired actually by JFK because he did not like JFK because JFK got us involved in the Vietnam War. And Dune is really a cautionary tale about the charismatic political leaders. And Paul Atreides, through the spice melange, sort of foresees himself becoming effectively a version of Space Hitler. So how does he derail his destiny this destiny that was basically bullshit created by the Bene Gesserit. I could go on and on. I'm losing the audience. All right.
No.
If you want to join us, it's an open invitation. Ed Wallach says, I saw Tenet 3. Wait, they made Tenet 3 already? I saw Tenet 3 times here in San Diego. Love you, Ed. It could have used an intermission. I agree with you. You know what it could have used? Fucking subtitles.
Yes.
Jesus, I don't understand a thing. Chris Nolan. I was at it's a long story. I was at the preview screening where they showed the first 5 minutes of The Dark Knight Rises. You couldn't understand a thing Bane said. I think that it's different when you're in the mixing room and you're mixing things. You've heard the dialogue tracks a million times. You know what they say. But to an audience that's seeing something for the first time, they don't always see it. And Mike Merriman says, I'm on the wrong computer for streaming. Do you do this every Friday? I will be better prepared for the future. Why am I doing that voice? I have no idea why I'm doing that voice. That's terrible.
The Schwarzenegger movie.
It's probably racist.
Isn't Nolan known for really pushing his audio? Isn't that what Nolan does? I mean, besides being really deep philosophical movies that oftentimes don't make sense, I often find it difficult to follow a Christopher Nolan film, but it looks amazing. And just like wanting to go see Dune in the movie theater at all costs.
Oh God. Wow.
Why?
Wait, just on the topic of seeing movies in theaters, I don't know if you guys saw this, but this is the graph right now of how many people have COVID, and it's just in LA, and
Right.
it's just I don't know that I'd feel, even if it was Dune, which again, favorite book, but I wouldn't risk it at this point in time because it's, studies just show it's so much more if it's in a closed space.
I
love popcorn, so I don't want to eat it and.
Right, but we're going to be in a different place when it comes to October 2021.
Yeah.
I think the vaccine is going to roll out to general audiences. I don't know why I put it that way. That's
You mean the rest of us?
the vaccine.
It's a good analogy.
The general audiences around April. I mean, I'm definitely going to be last in line because I'm a pajama jobber. I think isn't that the technical term for people who work at home? Pajama jobber. Has anyone heard that?
I heard it from you. Because you wrote it on Dante's Facebook the other day.
Right. I said we're a pajama jobber. If you're a pajama jobber, you basically wake up I literally don't put on real clothes until.
Sounds like something else.
Well, a lot of times when I do Zoom meetings, like right now I have on real pants, but sometimes I'll have on a real shirt, but pajama pants on. And then if you don't have to do video on a Zoom, you can just have your pajamas on. It rules.
No, well, it's weird because Film Threat was always kind of virtual office anyways before that was a thing. And now everyone's sort of gotten a taste of virtual office. And you discover, and I discovered this in the late 90s, early 2000s, that I could do an entire 8-hour day job in 3 hours. Because there's so much bullshit. I don't care about signing your birthday card. I don't want to go to Tony Roma's to celebrate the birthday of the girl in the office that I barely talk to. I sound like a horrible person, but I just want to do my job, which is what I'm being paid for. All right, maybe we should move on to the next topic. We have a lot of comments coming in. I'm trying to deflect here. Here we go. Okay, next topic, which means I'm probably going to play that dumb because I paid so much for this video, so I want to show it off. So we're gonna do that right now. So here we go. Here with the next topic. Here we go. All right. Okay, our next topic, Bill and Ted 3, the best or the worst of the B&T trilogy, or is it part of the connected universe, the Bill and Ted connected universe? What do we all think? And wait, where did Lauren go? Lauren. There he is. I love Lauren. He's one of my favorite people. Seriously, I could not be doing this if I did not love Lauren. he has.
So I think a Rotten Tomato score really has an effect on what kind of movie experience we have. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay, Bill and Ted 3. I just basically want to use this as an excuse to talk about Bill and Ted 3, which I think was one of my favorite movies this year. And I'm going to admit something. Whatever you guys think of me after, you may think of me differently. I got all choked up at the end of that movie. I got all choked up. I found that ending where basically the idea that music can bring people together, and that montage at the end, I'm getting chills now thinking about it. That montage at the end, if you recall, like just I found so amazing. It was like the message we needed now because we're all so divided over stupid bullshit. But that movie really, it just spoke to me. For those of us who have seen, I don't know if everybody here has seen Bill and Ted 3. Has everyone seen Bill and Ted 3?
I did not.
Wait, you've seen it, Lori?
Yeah.
Yeah. So for those of you that have seen Bill and Ted 3, what are your thoughts? I just want to hear your thoughts and comments.
Well, as far as the question goes, I think that it's definitely part of a connected universe because, like, if you watch Bogus Journey and then watch that, there's a few discrepancies. But I loved it because Bill and Ted was a big thing for me in my childhood. And I never thought that they would do a third one. Like, I didn't even think that was a possibility. And it came out the day before my birthday. So I was just like, this is the best birthday present. This has been such a shitty year. And the movie was like a salve to all the stuff that's going on. Like you said, the connection with the montage at the end, it's like we are so disconnected right now because of COVID, but stuff like art and music and, stuff like this helps us connect. And I think that was like a bigger manifestation of that. So I thought it was really special.
Wait, when you said stuff like this, did you mean alcohol? Because that's what I thought you meant.
No, I meant like what we're doing.
What we're doing. Yes, that's right. Yes. Yeah, no, just because of how the year was, I feel like it just hit me differently. So then maybe it would have if it just came out amongst everything when we're so used to. I almost feel like we sort of eat up and chew up pop culture a little bit too quickly. It used to be we would digest a movie, and by Friday night, everybody's either shit on the film or said it's brilliant, even though it may or may not actually be brilliant. It's not that you kind of savor something. It's like we're so used to. I'm actually enjoying The Mandalorian. Seeing it one episode at a time, right? It's spread out over 2 months. We can kind of like see an episode, discuss it. Should we talk about The Mandalorian? I guess that's what I'm saying. And I haven't seen this episode with Bill Burr yet. So.
Oh, wow. No, I haven't caught up with that show at all.
You haven't caught up? Anybody have to say anything about The Mandalorian?
It's awesome.
I saw the first episode or two and wasn't really interested.
I love
one or season 2.
Yeah, but Mike is right. Consuming for the sake of consumption is a big problem. Like it's like that. It's sort of like, this is why, like yesterday, I watched part of that Disney presentation. Like, we have 10 Marvel shows. We have 10 Pixar shows. We have 10 Star Wars shows. The bottom of the barrel has been reached. It's just like, it's kind of freaking crazy that like this is the thing. I feel like we're going to reach a stage now, and this is happening. We're seeing it there's sort of like a corporate culture and a sort of independent creative culture, and the divide between that is getting more and wider and wider. And I feel like the corporations that buy these big franchises, right? They buy these huge franchises and then milk them to death in the most palatable way and the most pandering way in many ways. I find it distressing. And I feel like maybe there's a new age of the independent creator that's on the horizon, because when you look at like what Gene Roddenberry or George Lucas or other creators who did these things early on, what the original intention was and what it's become is very different. And Ed wants me to not feel bad, man. Look, he gets weepy over light comedy. See, I'm not the only one. But
once.
I want to hear everybody. I want to hear everybody's thoughts on this. maybe the hard seltzer is getting to me. But go on.
What was the topic?
Bill and Ted.
Bill and Ted.
Okay.
No,
Yeah,
well, just like corporate versus independent creators.
Well, this actually is what I was talking about before, which is, down with the multiplex. And I'm going to be perfectly honest, the multiplexes I see around me here in New York City are, you may as well stay at home and watch it on your TV. It's the same size screen, So what I'm looking for and hoping for is that these independent theaters will crop up again. They're not corporately owned. They're run by people who love films. And that will give you a much more interesting thing. Yeah, they may not have the big blockbuster, but if you're not into that thing, let it go and go see what you are interested in,
What I'm curious about is if the Oscars are going to have more independent films nominated this year, since there was not a lot of Oscar bait. There was some, of course, but there's not a lot. There's a lot less than there usually is.
Oh my God! Wait a sec! I just thought of a new topic. Well, here we are. We're back. Corporate franchise filmmaking versus independent creators. Which is better? This is our new topic. What do we think? Where did Lauren go?
Hello. Oh, I'm back.
No, but this is something we talk about at Film Threat a lot. Is there's this corporate factory filmmaking with like Marvel, Pixar, Star Wars, Disney, right?
Yeah.
The Disneyfication of everything. The corporatization of everything. And I've been fortunate enough in my career that I've worked for big companies who have hired me, which is fine. But I've also maybe foolishly put my money into creative ventures where I was more independent in terms of being able to express my opinion. I've always found more satisfaction from independent projects. But I want to know where everybody on our panel stands, including Lauren. So let's go with Chuck first.
Yeah.
Chuck.
So, go ahead.
On this topic of corporate factory franchise filmmaking versus independent creators, what are the advantages and disadvantages? I mean, the thing, my argument is that studios have no excuse to fail. They have no excuse to fail. They have all the money. They have all the talent. They have people that are the top of their field, right? And independents, I feel like a lot of times are like birds with broken wings, right? They're Lori, Chuck, Anthony, we all see movies where they're not perfect, but there's something beautiful in that imperfection, right?
Right. Yeah. Right. Well, I mean, I come from a punk rock background.
I'm just saying. Forget it. Sorry. Sorry, Chuck, I interrupted you.
Oh no, I know. It's just, yeah, you're right that the studios have no excuse to fail, but to me, I see a lot of those movies and they fail to me. I don't identify with them on a personal level. I don't, see anything that really interests me. It's, CGI explosions again. Who cares? I'm so tired of that. Give me something that means something. It doesn't have to be, a big action movie or whatever, or even where, I veer more toward disturbing independent films. And, I'm wearing this shirt for Portraits of Andrea Palmer, which if anybody here has seen that, you will wonder about that. But, the independent films have something more to offer, I think. You get the corporate movies, it's more of the same. And it's the same thing if you go to, any fast food restaurant versus your local, whatever. Same thing.
All right. What is that? Let's go back to Steph and we'll kind of work our way back around. Do you have thoughts on this topic?
Yeah.
You're a film fan. John Bailey was singing your praises to me.
Oh, he's a sweetheart. Yeah, no, I'm a filmmaker and screenwriter. And I actually teach screenwriting to people who are creating their own independent films. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And
why are you writing for Film Threat? This is John. Why has he been keeping you from me a secret?
So I have a movie that's being produced by a major company right now, but it's been on hold for a long time because they want to make it like in a big way. However, I'm come from an independent film background, like 2 documentaries, Schwartz, etc. The NYU hustle, and I think you can get more done quicker and in the vision that you want, an independent film. But yeah, it's always a hustle to get funding and to market it, and you get such a big marketing arm from studios. But when I'm going for OWA's open writing assignments and I'm pitching on these big concepts, it's definitely like, I don't know, Pitch You 5 or these things that are franchises. And I wonder if a tiered movie structure, kind of like what you were saying, check out, if you have a certain price for indie movies, and then like a Marvel movie or whatnot is a different price. I wonder if that could help with cinema. But I'm thinking, I think there's the heart and soul of creating and writing is definitely in these things that aren't so I want to say like cultured, but also suppressed by a lot of development executives. Like if you write for an animated film, you're going to have to go through tons of people to get an idea across. And by that time, it might be watered down and then it might not mean as much, or it could be awesome like Pixar movies. But you just have so many hands in it. And the great thing about independent is that there's a really specific POV from the filmmaker. And it's just funding is difficult. Like 3 of my friends, I have a friend who directed 3 features, and hers was supposed to premiere at South by Southwest this year. Then that's canceled. And it's really difficult for, especially I'd say female filmmakers, to make the jump from indie to studio because they want to see bigger things that you've done. So I appreciate both, but I think there will always be a place for independent movies. And I think the more that people get creative and create their own stuff, and the price of tech comes down, you can create more of your own things. You just have to have that gumption.
Yeah, you can do a whole movie on your phone at this point.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, Steven Soderbergh did the movie on his iPhone. So
yeah,
Tangerine, that was a great one.
I have this iPhone movie I've wanted to make for years that I think I might do it, because this was a weird year where like all the projects that I had on hold just because of life, whatever, I was able to get a bunch of those projects done. It's actually kind of shocking. I have like a manuscript for a book. I've got like the first at least cut of a documentary, which some of you have seen. It's terrible, I know. It'll get better. Give us 6 months. It's not give us, but like 6 more months of working on it. We're going to submit it to festivals next year. So like, yeah, but this iPhone movie I want to make, it actually involves, I do have to actually see people. So I don't know. It's tough. Shane Mackey, what do you think? Like, you have very eclectic, Shane, you have very eclectic taste in movies. You've introduced me to some incredibly crazy films, which is why I love you, man. But like, you gotta like, where do you stand on like the sort of big budget versus like, and also you're in the heart of Atlanta, which is a lot of film right now, including independent film as well.
Yeah, I'm burned out on the franchise. I don't think I watched half the superhero movies that came out in the last 3 years. But like a movie like The Witch or The Vast of Night, I can watch that over and over. I'm not drawn into giant underwater sea battles. I didn't see Aquaman or, like I said, half the other franchises or the last Star Wars movie. And if you can tell I'm a huge Star Wars fan, if you can tell by the background, but But you didn't see The Rise of Skywalker? I still have not seen The Rise of Skywalker. But I've watched every Mandalorian. Mandalorian's saved Star Wars for me.
Yeah, it's definitely like gotten my interest back, because after Rise of Skywalker, I didn't really care. To me, Star Wars kind of ended with the death of Luke Skywalker in Last Jedi. Spoilers, I'm sorry. Lauren Kling, what are your thoughts?
Yes. I'm afraid.
Oh my God.
I am. Oh, you bastard. you know, I have to give credit to a new set of financial overlords like Amazon Prime and Netflix, who have given the opportunities to a lot of smaller filmmakers the chance to create some beautiful and amazing, not just films, but TV series. For example, Amazon Prime's Tales from the Loop is a beautifully written and visual project that isn't mainstream and may never be, but we've got that chance. So it's hard to say where we as fans of independent film, and me as a fan of independent TV, where we're going to go as our favorite franchises. You know, superhero movies are kind of pushed into the mainstream, and all that's going to be in the theaters are the things that are friendly to European and Asian markets that aren't necessarily written for us and our history, but are written for everybody. They're going to become more vanilla. So I think we're really having to stay indoors to watch all of these projects. And I'm curious if that's going to continue in the future.
Well, if I can jump in here real quick, I think there's something to be said for the spirit and the energy you get from an independent movie, as opposed to the big blockbuster thing where, you have an independent movie. That's a labor of love. Somebody really, like, no matter how bad it is, somebody believed in that film and did everything they could to get that out to you. Whereas you get the blockbusters and it's just it's that corporate drag. It's a job. It's just a job, and I think that translates to the screen.
Lori, what are your thoughts?
I will always love independent film more, but I think that there's definitely a place for the corporate films as well. Because, I mean, especially if you think about with the Marvel movies, like people with kids, like it's good for them. It's good for like the comic fans and all that kind of stuff. But I think that there's a lot more humanity to independent films, as to where there's kind of a plastic sheen on big Hollywood productions. And I like it when I think that my favorite thing, because I do love actors and actresses, is when like a big actor is in a small movie. I think that's like one of my favorite things, that like Uncut Gems. I mean, even though that was like pretty big, it was sort of independent, and that was amazing. Like that was Adam Sandler's like best performance I've ever seen. So I think that there's room for both.
And one of my favorite lines from that movie is, "Oh, I think I'm." I couldn't say it, but that was a great line. That was a great line. Anthony Bench, I kind of think I know where you stand on this, but I really want to hear your thoughts.
Oh, I want to hear your thoughts.
To me, it's obvious. I've worked in both.
Where do you think I stand on this?
Well, I don't know. Like, I've always been an indie. Why did I create Film Threat when I was in freaking high school? I was a kid when I was just like, I know. First of all, the word independent film didn't exist when I started Film Threat. That was not a word. The word was cult films or underground films.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they call me the ancient one on River. That's just.
I remember the cult section at where did I go? Videotech in 2020. You remember those on Sunset?
Oh wow! I know. Wow.
Big action blockbusters were my gateway into film. I mean, that's what I started with. My mom was not a cinephile. She just watched movies that just seemed like it would appeal to her, and it would appeal to me when I came around. But just loving those movies made me want to seek out more movies. So Chris always talks about the balanced diet, and I subscribe to that theory as well. Like, I love independent films, and I love blockbusters, and there's really good blockbuster films, and there's really bad independent films, and they work vice versa as well. My movies that I really appreciate are when a smaller filmmaker gets a big budget and his personality is allowed to shine. I think James Gunn with Guardians of the Galaxy is a perfect example of that. So, I mean, if you want me to pick which is better, it honestly just depends on my tastes, and my tastes change a lot. They do. I will say that I do have a lot more respect for independent films that that make it, that kind of cross over and gain that mainstream success. A lot more than, big budget studios that, nail it out of the park, because again, it's kind of expected. You guys have the budget, you guys have the talent, you guys have the resources, you should be making good product. And with that said, like, I feel that now, we're getting to a point where like everything from Star Wars to Marvel, like all the big budget stuff, is becoming so oversaturated and exhausting. Like, they announced 10 projects for Star Wars, and I'm like interested in like 3 of them. Like, I don't care, and that's like a really weird feeling being a Star Wars fan and not caring about Star Wars. And Marvel, it's like, not everybody needs a Disney Plus show. Like, we don't need a Disney Plus show.
WandaVision looks awesome, though.
Yeah, no, that looks really effed up and weird. And yeah.
What does?
WandaVision?
Oh, yeah. I really like.
And I do like, actually, if you think about it, Marvel and Kevin Feige has very much embraced the idea of bringing independent creators like Taika Waititi, right?
Yeah.
Like, and other independent filmmakers, and gone, here's a budget. Like James Gunn, right before James Gunn did, Guardians, and it came out. I don't know. Wait, did you come to that huge Christmas party I had in like 2013 back in the day?
Yeah.
James Gunn was there. And
I have a funny story about that.
There's a crazy story about that. There's a lot of crazy stories about that. But so James Gunn was like editing Guardians of the Galaxy. He came to a Christmas party that I had in downtown LA at this weird loft that I had back then. And he was just like, I have no idea. They're just letting me do whatever the fuck I want.
Yeah.
Which was so strange. He was just like, I don't know. I hope it's going to be good. They're just letting me do what I want. But I also remember seeing he was on Attack of the Show, and he was doing some appearance. Like, he was in like the green room, and he was just like, I don't know. If I sign on to this, it's like 3 years of my life is like gone. Like 3 years of his life. Wait, I hear the coolest noise. Someone's making like the coolest noise. I don't know what it is on a microphone.
Yeah, it's not me.
Should we find out? I don't know. I kind of love it. It's weird, but
I like an album of it.
But it's like, I do know that, mostly, and you and I, Anthony, when we did the podcast together, like we would talk to directors, and it was like tone management is such a huge part of being a creator, like being a person who manages the tone of the content. So like I feel like the more money that's involved, the more difficult tone management becomes.
Oh yeah.
I would agree with you on that.
Like shaping it. You have more people.
Chuck?
Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry, Chuck. What were you saying?
I'll just. I want to bring up the example of Dredd. Did anybody here see Dredd? A few years ago. I mean, that was done on a low budget. It was to the point, and I absolutely loved it. I'm a big fan of the 2000 AD stuff. I heard that they were going to be doing a Rogue Trooper movie. I'm looking forward to that more than anything. And it made me say, all right, these guys are going to do it right, because Dredd was so great, and it reminded me of the movies in the 80s that I grew up watching, that, that genre was more of a low budget thing back then. And I think they really tapped into that. Whereas, with the big budget movies, they don't have to be as creative. You throw billions or millions or something, and it's going to get done. Whereas something like that's on a shoestring needs you need to be creative with what you're going to do. And
But there are big budget comic book movies that are creative. Like I would say that Doctor Strange was one of the more creative ones, just visually.
I mean, and Thor Ragnarok was the best one, and like you were saying, Taika Waititi. I mean, that's my favorite Marvel movie, probably.
Yeah,
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
That's when.
God, I have to disagree so much. Oh,
I knew that was coming. I saw that coming.
I love. Don't leave. Don't leave. Oh, Lauren Kling, please come back.
This was a monster.
That I see. The reason I've been doing that is because I know Lauren. Oh my God, you're like Lex Luthor.
hey, what happened to that Lauren guy? I think he had something to say.
Oh my God. Well, look.
Look, I can't be taken serious.
Well, I will say, first of all, I want to thank everybody. I don't want to get everyone's socials and all that and say our goodbyes, but this is sort of an experiment. I just want to talk about topics with people from Film Thread and other people in the industry. I really love that. Like, okay, we're surviving through whatever 2020 is. Although I'm really afraid. I'm afraid that 2020 is the trailer for 2021.
No, don't say that.
No.
No.
Worse.
I'd watch that.
Cyberpunk, man.
I'd watch that.
This 2020 is the Mac and me of the movie world.
That's the best thing you've said all night. I love you. But next week we're doing a watch party. We normally do watch parties on Fridays. Next week we have our best watch party yet. It's for the movie The Last Blockbuster. It's a documentary on the last Blockbuster video store. Oh, we have some really interesting celebrities that are going to come on. I wish I could say their names, but I can't. We have some really interesting people coming, and we're doing it from the actual last Blockbuster video store in Bend, Oregon. So, yes, so there are going to be people at the Blockbuster video store. I'm so excited for it. We may have one special last-minute watch party. I don't want to ruin it. It's Christmas related, but we do watch parties on the Film Thread YouTube channel here.
Is this a Love Actually after show? Oh my gosh!
We're doing a Love
Princess Twitch holiday.
Yes, it's happening. So next Friday, but this show Versus is going to be our new show, weekly show. This was a test. I think it turned out pretty well. I think the fact that Lauren didn't cry is my favorite part of this whole thing, because I know he has a sense of humor. That's why I love Lauren.
I miss his wig already. Thank you.
Is anybody going to bring up the fact that Blockbuster edited their movies for objectionable content?
Yes. We will discuss it. We will discuss that.
Thanks.
But it's going to be a lot of fun. I want to go around the horn, and we'll start with Anthony. We'll go around. Give me your socials if people want to follow you. We're Film Thread on everything. So
you can follow me on Twitter at ThisGameCheats.
Cool. Lori Kikta.
You can follow me on Twitter at TheKikta. It's Kikta, and on Instagram at Lori Kikta, which is LORRYKIKTA.
Twitter is at Mr. Freak, MRPHREEK, and Instagram I'm Chuck Foster, Film Threat Peter Iuta.
Lauren.
You can find me on Instagram at Lauren Kling, LORENKLING.
Oh my God,
that was like a kung fu movie.
Shane Mackey.
I'm on Twitter at Shane Mackey, but I never use it, so that's it.
Steph.
I'm on Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, and TikTok, all the same, at Steph Woodburn, STEF Woodburn.
Awesome. Well, Steph, you have an open invitation to come back
Oh, thanks. I'd love to.
Yeah, no, you're coming back. You're coming back. You should
also
check out our watch parties too.
That'd be fun.
They're a lot of fun. I want to thank everybody who's watching this. It's Friday. You made it to this. You made it this far in 2020. But I feel like the boss character at the end of 2020, that's what really I'm afraid of. I don't know who it's going to be. Anybody guess what the boss character for 2020 is going to be?
Donald Trump.
Yeah, that's what I was
got rid of him already. So
yeah.
No,
Nicolas
not
Cage
necessarily.
in his most authentic.
Wait, did you guys read that script, the Nick Cage script?
No. Tell us about
there's
it.
like him being himself.
What?
As like a
Oh, that's right.
downtrodden movie actor who needs to fix his relationship with other people, and it's called like The Fabulous Being of Nick Cage or something. I think it was on the blacklist last
The
year.
unbearable weight of massive talent.
Something like that. Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, whatever your boss character is for the end of 2020,
Robert Benigni's Pinocchio.
yes, something. I hope we all make it through it. Thank you so much to everybody. We survived this first pilot episode of Versus. And I want to thank everybody who posted comments, especially Mike Merriman. Oh my God. Oh my God. Mike Merriman, who's provided comments and commentary, and we appreciate it. Mike, open invitation to come to the show when you get good internet. If you guys want to talk after, I'm going to do the titles one last time. Here we go. Just because I paid so much money to have these titles made, I just want to watch them one last time.